What?
It's so loud.
Yo, what is going on, everybody? I am Just That Officer, and if it's your first time here, I am a police officer. I've been a police officer for over a decade now, and I also am a skateboarder. Skateboarding goes way back for me, and I'm going to be talking about it in this video while I set up this deck. The old one's getting pretty close to breaking, so we gotta be prepared. Now, this is kind of new on the YouTube channel. I haven't really shared anything about skateboarding on this channel, so you current subscribers are probably kind of confused unless you follow me on Instagram. If you guys haven't been following me on Instagram, please do. It's the easiest way to stay up to date with me and everything, and I've been more active on there lately than I have been on YouTube, trying to be more consistent for you guys as well. I think I'm going to start incorporating a little bit more of the skateboarding into the channel as well, just because it's a big piece of me and who I am. So that being said, let's go back in time to when I was a young boy. I remember, oh man, I don't know how old I was. I want to say I was probably 12 at the time. I don't know what store we're in. I want to say it was like a Target or something. And I remember I might have had some kind of silly, cheap Walmart board before that. We did, man. And we were 9. And this was a silly cheap board as well. But I remember being in the store and looking at a board, and it was like a Target board, but I was like, oh wait, this has concave, this has pop in it. And I was like, this is legit, you know, even though it really wasn't like one of these, but it was enough to get me started. That was it. I was hooked from there. I've never been the type of person to get into like team sports or anything like that. Tried some of that stuff when I was younger. I tried being on a baseball team. I think I did like 2 seasons of baseball when I was really young, and then I just ended up just quitting because I just didn't want to do it anymore. Soccer, I had no interest in that. You know, a lot of people in high school played football. I just wasn't into it, and I wanted to skate. And if I played football, it took time away from skating, and that wasn't gonna happen. So yeah, I grew up skateboarding. Ever since then, it grew. I was skating in my grandmother's driveway, practicing. And I remember the kickflip was like one of the longest things that took me to learn. Because once you learn a kickflip, then everything else starts to fall in place in skateboarding. So that's a big move in skateboarding, and I think that's why the movement for do a kickflip is what it is. You know, do a kickflip, get a deck, because we know how hard you worked to get to that point in skateboarding. So yeah, as it continued on, I got pretty good at it, but now I see people skating these days, man, and they're insane. The tricks I am seeing come out are just absolutely insane. Yeah, do I wish I could have gone pro and all that fun stuff? Of course. It's like every skateboarder's dream, right? But life gets in the way. But yeah, so setting up a deck, if you're curious, you get your deck out, right? Take the plastic wrap off, and you have your clean surface here. You need to grip this because you can't skate on this. So we have some grip tape. This is Primitive. I just want to give a huge shout out to them real quick. Primitive donated like 20 decks. If you guys are following me on Instagram, you know this, but if you're not, they donated like 20 decks for me to give away, which is super epic, and it's going to be very helpful. It has been very helpful because I've been taking my money out of my own pocket. Some people have donated, and I really appreciate you guys doing that. That has been very helpful as well. So it's been really easy on me as far as getting these decks so far. Really been supportive, and I am forever grateful. But let's set this up. So if you guys are curious, this is a Primitive deck as well. This is the Paul Rodriguez deck. Can't remember exactly what it was called. Threat deck, which makes sense because, you know, you got the little ninja star right there. It's an 825. That's what I ride, 825. If you don't know what that means the width of the board. So we have a grip tape here, and they actually have a little logo down here for the Primitive. It's the P down here. So I want that to be at the back. Kind of always tells me where my tail is. Tail's back here, nose is here. You can kind of tell based on the shape, but you can also tell based on the logos that they put on here. So this is going to be facing from bottom to top, which will be your nose and then your tail. This is not coming off easy. Holy crap, you know, sticker problems. All right, I'm gonna come here and lay this flat. Make sure that you're covering all the sides and everything like that. You're gonna have excess overhang, quite all right. So then I like to go from the middle, and then I take, usually, this paper isn't all torn up, but kind of take it and use that paper so you're not ripping your hands apart because it's sandpaper, and kind of rub out the bubbles towards the end. And another thing you could do, like some things that we used to do, like I got a little short on the tail there, but that's okay. There's a little bit of tail showing there, but that's fine. You could do like different designs here. Like when I was younger, I would like cut some lines here so I could tell which way is the back and things like that. It makes it easier on you. You could cut all kinds of different lines in it, different ways you could do different things with your grip tape, have all kinds of fun with it. These days I like to just grip it, stick it, be done with it. And once you do that, you need to get your edges So you need to take some type of tool. I have this knife here. I'm just gonna use the back side of it and just do this all around the edge. What?
It's so loud.
Almost done. Don't use a knife that you like. I would suggest using a like screwdriver or something like that. But I have so many knives. This one's not my top. It's fine. Don't worry about it. So now you kind of see the outline of the board there. So now you need a razor blade. But you're gonna take the razor blade and kind of go along that line and kind of create the straightest edges that you can. So we're gonna go ahead and do that right now. Let's do that. Yeah, so it's kind of interesting that I grew up a skateboarder, essentially kind of running from cops, avoiding the police, skate spots, stuff like that, and then I become one. You can ask all of my friends growing up, they probably never thought I would choose this as a career. I was never one of those people that grew up and said, I'm gonna be a cop, this is what I've always wanted to do, blah, blah, blah. It's not me. There's no cops in my family, but my family did have something to do with me becoming a cop, but we're not going to get that deep into it, but my family was complicated, and I think that's something that relates to skateboarding for me as well, because skateboarding was like an escape. I think that's why I loved it so much, because when I was skateboarding, you know, nothing else mattered. It gave me something to be focused on, even though it like kind of got me into trouble sometimes, but like nothing like crazy. I mean, like places wanted to trespass you and stuff like that because you were skating there. I totally understand. I never gave cops a hard time. I was always respectful to them because I understand that they were just doing their job. But yeah, it was an escape for me. I skated everywhere. Like that was my mode of transportation, and I skated all over town, so many miles. If I tried to do that today, I would probably die. But yeah, it was my therapy, my escape from reality, I guess, in a sense. Not that I talk about like my life was like terrible. It wasn't terrible. It was just complicated. Essentially, I just never wanted to be home. I wanted to be away doing other things. Skateboarding was that for me. You know, it's constantly challenging you. It's constantly pushing you past your boundaries. And when you get that new trick, man, it just feels so good and so rewarding because you work so hard for it. I skated for years growing up, and then I started getting older. I had to start thinking about my life, which sucks. Like, what are you gonna do? You know, you're not going pro in skateboarding, so that's not working out. I actually quit skateboarding for a little while, and then like one day, a couple of buddies wanted to go skate when I was like 18, and I was like, I don't even have a board, so I went and bought a new board and skated that day, and I think I didn't even skate for a while after that day. Like, I bought that board and didn't skate much after that, but I always kept that board. I always kept it around. I hopped on it every now and then we're fast forwarding a lot here. My neighbor, this is when I'm an officer now, so I've gone through all that stuff. I stopped skating for a while to get through all that stuff. I didn't want to get injured, because if you get injured in law enforcement, you get put on light duty, or if you're new, there's a chance they could fire you if you're not able to work because you're on probation for a year period. My neighbor was a skateboarder, and he was out skating one day, and I was like, yo, let's skate. I brought it out and I just got hooked again. Realized how much I missed it, how much time has passed, and I was like, why did I ever stop doing this? Yes, there's a big part of it was there's injury. That's still a big part of it. Like, I mean, you can get injured doing a lot of different things. I got injured at work more than anything, but skateboarding definitely beats you up. But it's just something that I love so much, and I was stoked to get back into it, and I've just kind of been sticking with it and skating every now and then. I must say I can't skate as much as I used to. I'm not trying to go pro. I don't go as crazy as I used to, but I stick with some of the tricks that I knew from back in the day. It's been a lot of fun, and I have my little girl now, and I'm trying to get her on the board, but I'm not pushy. She hasn't really picked it up yet. She kind of does things at her own pace, but I hope one day maybe she'll hop on it, but I'm never going to force her to do something that she doesn't want to do. So I take her sometimes, but usually she scoots around or something like that. But you get this, you get it all cut off. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's going to get, I mean, it's a skateboard, it's going to get thrashed around anyways. But then you take your extra pieces, fold it over, and you sand the sides. So you'll do this. Probably preferably that you do this outside, but I'll vacuum it up, don't worry. And just like that, you got a fresh deck that's ready to go. So yeah, skateboarding was a big part of my life. If you have something that you grew up doing, try to use that to connect with your community if you're an officer. And if you are an officer who skates, let me know, because I want to connect with you and I'd love to get you involved in this as well. And I'm also curious, those of you who have subscribed to me and those of you who are new, if you'd like to see more content such as this, maybe going to a skate park or something like that on this channel, let me know. And yeah, that's kind of the short story of skateboarding for me. So if you have any questions or comments, leave them down below in the comment section. I love chatting with you guys, and I will see you in the next video. Later.